else to do with this? What's the business here?
You know, I'm not the business person. It's, I would say right now, I think we're focused on building audience and growing, and, you know, monetization is, there's other people who are thinking about that. And I can't answer with any clarity. I'm editorial. But the one other thing I wanted to show. This is a different type. Besides all the sort of viral hits that are just these quick, you know, 1 minute pieces, a lot of our stuff is. Oh, I'm on the. A lot of what we do is also has more context. We have, you know, full teams that are dedicated to explain our videos, and doing things in studio and in the field. A lot of these are our most successful. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this was, and I won't play the whole thing because it's a little bit long. But we have a series now that we call our Voices Pieces. They're these perspectives. They're in studio. We bring people in, and they're really emotional. And they work on Facebook even though they're a little bit longer.
Sure, but no one wants to call me up to pay us a salary where we can survive. Well, teaching were easy. We wouldn't have a shortage, right? It is a symptom of the sick and fractured system of education.
I think I always had it to become a teacher, but I never wanted to teach away.
We're underfunded, we have less resources, we're kind of expected to give up of our time. We're expected to go the extra mile all the time without being asked if I can.
You know, I think that it's as important to.
So I won't go on and on, but you know, this was another one. It had 35 million, albeit inflated, Facebook views. But you know, these pieces that are multiple perspectives, really, you know, where people really say something emotional and say something real. A lot of people want to share that, and they will spend the time. You know, these type of videos do have a higher completion rate than normal.
And you guys do an amazing job of diversity too. It's probably the single best of all the social media.
So yeah, that's just a sort of sampling. I think there's a lot of different things that work, and we're continuing to try new things on different platforms. And I think Al makes some good points about Facebook, and their algorithm is constantly changing. We're always on our toes, having to figure it out, and it does suck to kind of be at their whim sometimes. And so we have to kind of just keep changing and also diversifying, and not being reliant on just one platform, being reliant on, you know, making sure we're on YouTube too, and we're figuring out what's next for Instagram and that kind of thing. I mean, Instagram's same as Facebook, but you know what I mean.
Hadley, I was going to ask you, typically, do you find that you have more success with how much success do you get from videos that are produced in-house versus content that you might get and repurpose into like an explainer video?
I think, you know, in terms of like being viral, our in-house stuff is just fine. That's thing. It's easier to produce. You can, you know, that stuff does really well. The field explainers are much more expensive. They take so much more time. They take a lot more producers are working on them. But I think that they also are really important. You know, not everything is so easy. You need to add the nuance. We sent people to Europe for the refugee crisis, and I think that was like, you know, such an important thing for us to do. We had people going live like with refugees, and it was this time when it was in the conversation, and I think for us that was such important work to do, and it was, and people were loving it. You know, people really wanted to see that experience because they were just, you know, hearing sound bites and more produced things. I think it was good for us to be there. So the payoff is not always as high being in the field, but I think it's really important.
Wonderful. Since you are connected
Yeah.
to her, why don't we just
Sarah, can I ask a question? By inflated views, are you referring to the metrics of Facebook where they don't mean what they really mean?
Yeah, well, just what I was saying, yeah, that they do count views very quickly, and so those numbers are really big, you know? I mean, we have 6 million people who have liked our page, so that's, people are watching it and they're interested in our stuff, but a lot of the views are, you know, you have to keep that in mind.
And related to that, how do you guard against, or how does Facebook or any other media organization guard against viewers that aren't really viewers? Basically paid farm systems of computer farms where hundreds of thousands of people in South Asia or Eastern Europe, the company is paid to have people physically come in, sit at computers that are already set up and click, 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 and view, and view, view, view.
Yeah, that hasn't come up with us as being a problem.
Okay.
One thing on the 3-second view, it's totally true that Facebook counts a view as 3 seconds. However, one of the benefits or maybe the challenges of the algorithm is it definitely seems like it's very easy to get views if you only need to keep people for 3 seconds. But because it's an algorithm system, and because you have to kind of learn the algorithm as you go, there's no playbook that Facebook gives us all, obviously. What you sort of learn, and by the hints that Facebook sends out, is if everyone gets to 3 seconds and then dips out because it's a crappy video, you'll never see 10 million, 35 million, 50 million views, right? Those massive, massive, massive views are coming because people are finishing those videos, they're commenting, they're sharing, influencers are sharing, so there's definitely a completely legitimate feeling about Facebook gives you that kick of like, oh, my video's gone viral, but I think maintaining a consistency of 35 million view videos is impossible. So one of our philosophies, because we are predominantly on Facebook, is to kind of constantly monitor the median or the average views, kind of knocking out those viral hits and then knocking out the really low performers, looking at those, trying to improve upon those, but just making sure that your median, especially if you have a lot of video content, is kind of always consistently rising, because that means you're reinforcing the things that are working about your video. And then, you know, a lot of us have a lot of good faith that putting a lot of good content into the Facebook ecosystem does encourage, hopefully, over time, better monetization by Facebook and Facebook partners, you know, to, pay publishers like us, so we don't only have to rely on, our branded content teams or third-party syndication rev share deals. Without having these O&O operations, our challenges are much different, but just kind of a commentary on the algorithm, because I know it's very confusing, especially around video.